Hawa, Brakatake Hawa Shai, Brakatake Hawa, Brakatake Hawa Shai, Bahashan Wakha Kudash. I want to give double honors to our apostles at Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the house of David the elect. All right. And I'm Zahar, Spirit Wind Judah. And today I want to go into a topic entitled The Honor of Men. All right. The honor of men. All right. Because in this society, something that's not really pushed is the honor of men, the value of men, but the founding belief of Esau's forefathers is the Bible, which consists of the honor of men. All right, but just so happens that 2021, something is not exalted, something is not, put on the forefront. It's the value of men. All right, which is why I'm doing this lesson. You got guys like Kevin Samuel. He speaks on basically men not having value. And I was just meditating on some scriptures and some thought processes, some thoughts this morning when I woke up and realized that, not realized because, we always knew, but I was just meditating on the fact that, we don't get our fair share of respect just for the things that we do as men. All right. Because basically in Babylon, you have to be a high value man to get any type of recognition, a so called high value man. All right. So I'm just going to get into the live stream and shalom to you, brothers and sisters who are tuning in. All right. Hey, we're going to push till we get out of here, man. The kingdom is at hand. All right. But it says in Proverbs 7, the 17th chapter, I'm just going to quote it, how children's are the crown of the grandfathers, but the glory of children is their fathers, man. All right. There's a reason why the glory of children, or really that word children really is sons. Children is a made up word. There was no such thing as children in the ancient world, sons and daughters or little ones. Okay? But the crown of sons, the glory of sons is their father. All right? Or you go into that different definitions of that word, go into that word of glory, it's like the pride of a son is his father, man. All right? And then when a son has a father in his life, all right, that brings out his confidence, man. Even in his so-called teenage years, which really he's a young man. All right. In a lot of cases, men who are cultivated by their fathers, they have a certain type of confidence about themselves. It's not a loud bravado confidence, but it's more of a sure of themselves. They become sure of themselves, man. Because one thing a man has to have is a sense of competence about himself. That's where confidence come from. Confidence come from the sense of having the ability, being sure about your ability, man. But the thing that really brings it out of you is your father. All right, your first hero is really your father. And something I understand about our history is that our people, collectively not being taught who we were, we don't attach who we are to the forefathers that we read about. So your mother didn't attach your father to King David, is what I'm saying. All right, you have actual other cultures, especially in the East. All right, when they read to their children, when they read to their sons and daughters about those heroes, all right, a lot of those heroes look just like their fathers, and that's very important, man. All right, it's very important, And even I was watching this movie. I was watching a foreign movie, and I think they were over there amongst the Elam. That was an Elamite movie. And long story short, shalom, shalom. Long story short, in the movie, the woman was reading the son or a daughter story about basically just a little bedtime story. But in the book, one of the characters looked just like their dad because he had a turban and a beard, just like his dad. So the son was like, "Oh, that's daddy," but it wasn't his daddy. But basically, the character in the story looked just like his daddy. So the legends that we read about amongst us, they don't look like us, and these are like little elements that take away our glory, man, and our honor. All right. For a lot of us, we know which is that our dad was just a so-called sperm donor, that's an insulting word, man. All right, because if it was that bad, what was the judgment of your mom to deal with him then? But one thing is, all right, we're not attached to any legends historically. The so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American man, especially the so-called black man, is not attached to any historical legends, man. And really, it's King David, King Solomon. Those are our forefathers. At least during the first Roman Empire, at least we knew that those were our fathers, because you can trace Yahushai's mother line and Yahushai's line back, or his dad line back to who? King David. So when you have that type of data, when you have that type of information, that puts a certain type of strength inside of your spirit, man. Knowing where you came from. All right, knowing where you came from starts with your forefathers. All right, when we have the last name of our captors, all right, that took a certain confidence from us, man. It's like we're a bastard nation. A bastard nation, you don't know your father, you don't know where you came from. So we're basically, in Esau's context, a bastard nation, okay? All right. But furthermore, all right, just the basic strengths of man, or the basic traits of man, is taken for granted in this society. And as it says in Proverbs, the 17th chapter, all right, the glory of young men is their strength. And the glory of young man is their strength. And Esau will have you look down on some of the most physically demanding jobs because they're not high paying. And they're looked at as brutes or just basic, but they're the most essential jobs. All right. If sanitation workers stop working right now, there'll be a negative downward spiral on the economy. Because if sanitation workers stop picking up the trash, then there's going to be a increase in diseases, man. Because it's going to cause basically bacterial infection. When those rotting things set up like that, it's going to cause bacterial infections. It's going to cause more sicknesses. And that has happened historically in America, man. All right, certain parts of cities, I think in the 1800s, there was no sanitation. Therefore, people started to get sick. And this is the last time that people want to get sick. This is the last era in which people should want to get sick. This is brother from Nadav 23, 1 Maccabees 2, 50 and 51. Now, therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. That's beautiful. Yep, which is the law of Yahweh Shema Shai. Called to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time, so shall you receive great honor and everlasting name. And that's those legends, man. And that's heavy. The water for that. That's a heavy scripture. Proverbs 20 and 29. The glory. I'm sorry, that was verse chapter 20. The water. Proverbs 20 and 29. The glory of young men is their strength, and the beauty of old men is their gray head. But going back to that negative effect of if the sanitation workers, which most sanitation workers are from the tribes of Israel, all right. Without sanitation workers or without maintenance, all right, there would be no civilization, man. All right. I know people that got on the back of those trucks, man, and that's a whole different ball game to be on the back of those trucks. All right. That's a really honorable job, because down here in Mississippi, they don't even give Jake those trucks that just pick up the trash can itself. No, it takes gargantuan brute force to pick up these trash cans and dump them at a certain speed, man. And you be doing this all day. All right. I had to pick up a driver. I had to pick up a trash worker, or his company had me pick him up to take him to work. Now, if he wasn't important, why did the company specifically have him get picked up to take him to work, man? Because he was one of those jakes that got that shit done, man. And if you ain't built for that, if you ain't built a certain way, you'll pass out, man. But it's time that men like that, they get their honor, man. All right, because the basic trait of a man is strength. One basic trait of a man is strength, man. You see Issachar throwing up 6 bricks at a time, stories how the other Issacharite or Northern Kingdom tribe, he's catching it, man. Eve ain't doing that shit. All right. See, that's why it says in Sirach 38, without these shall not a nation be inhabited. And those going into agricultural, um, blacksmiths, potters. But most of those jobs are taken by men too. All right. But like going into maintenance, hey man, every system needs maintenance. Most women don't want to deal with trash. But even your job, no matter what high-end job, you usually have a crew of maintenance workers that pick up the trash. All right. And if they didn't do that, you couldn't go to work, man. All right. Most High has maintenance workers in an ecosystem called scavengers, which is a catfish in the ocean. All right. Whether it's the buzzers on Earth. All right. Those are his maintenance workers. But in a civilization, you need maintenance workers, man. You need men to clean out the dung hill, man, to burn up the dung hill, man. It's a dirty job, but someone has to do it, man. But going into construction, going into moving in furniture, all right, you can look down on it all you want, but without that, the city gonna stop. It's time that men get their honor, man. All right, and not just a rich nigga, man. See, when you a nigga, it's like, man, you gotta be fucking Bill Gates level to get some type of respect, man. You gotta be Idris Elba level to get some type of respect from your own people, man. All right, this is Ecclesiastes 9 and 10. Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might, for there is no work, no device, no knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave, whither thou goest. But it takes strength to do something with all your might. That's why it says in Proverbs 20 and 29, the glory of a young man is their strength, man. And another attribute that men have is taken for granted. Going into strength, we went into physical strength. Now we have to go into figurative strength, so to speak, man. All right, it's courage. That's a key attribute of a man. It's courage, man. Who's gonna run into a burning building to save people they don't know, man? Who's been in armies after armies? All right. Hey, Ecclesiasticus 7 and 15. Hey, not laborious work, neither husbandry which the Most High hath ordained. But who's in charge of that? Who dominates that field, man? All right. Men should get their honor. Men gonna get their honor, man. All right. Real soon. All right. But like I was saying, you have physical strength, which is the glory of men. But then you have, I guess you could call it metaphorical strength or figurative strength, which is courage. And courage is the ability to do something amid adversary, all right, amid adversity. Just like regular strength is the ability to do something in the midst of resistance, all right? So men have something called courage, man, all right? Like I said, who's going to run into a burning building, man? Eve ain't doing it. All right, when the stuff hit the fan, a woman is a damn woman. I don't care how many degrees she got. I don't care how accomplished she is in America. If a burning building or somebody gets to shoot, you're going to hear the same thing, screaming and running. It's usually the men, whether they're civilians or they're part of some type of police force, man. They're the ones that put their lives on the line for strangers, man. All right? That's why there's a reason why the Bible is written from the perspective of men. There's a reason why all the notable characters were men. Women did their thing. They had their roles, all right? And women are nothing to be shitted on. The Israelite woman in her natural state is nothing to be looked down upon. She's a nourisher. She's a nourisher, all right? And that's a beautiful job, okay? Well, right now we're talking about men, mainly Israelite men, the so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. Going back, it's the glory of a young man is his strength, man, all right? Because like I said, who's going to run into a burning building, man? Or if you were in school or at work and they said some serial killers are loose, women are going to become women. But it's usually men who put their lives on the line to save strangers, man. To save babies, man. To save women, man. The same women who had the audacity to ask those men, what do you do? How much do you make? All right? Men move that furniture into your office building. All right, and I'm just talking about the basic attributes of man. I'm not even going into the visionary, the engineers, the architects. I'm not even going into that because that's another attribute of a man. Because you're going to find out that spatial ability in your mind is attached to testosterone in your brain. But I'm not even going into that. I'm keeping it basic. I'm keeping it elementary, man. The most basic attributes of man is why this economy is going, man. All right. Men who work on the railroad, men who work on construction. All right. If somebody breaks into your house, it's expected for you to take down a burglar, man. All right. And a man's basic job was to provide and protect. Now, the cost of living is too high for one man to solely provide by himself in most cases. But he's still expected to usually be the financial safety net of the house. All right. And he's still expected to use his strength and courage to defend the house. All right. So that in itself, a man is deserve honor, man. All right. His strength, all right, and his courage, man. All right. And those men need their honor. We need our honor, man. All right. And then in that same chapter, I think Proverbs 20, it said the glory of a young man is their strength, and the glory of the older men is their hoary head, because it says the hoary head is a sign of wisdom. All right, and it also tells you in the law that you're supposed to rise before a hoary head. It's something that I've observed about Israelite men, really not even talking about the truth, because the truth, that's a whole nother level of wisdom. That's a whole nother level of wisdom when we're dealing with the truth. But something I noticed about Israelite men is that they acquire wisdom as they age, man. All right, contrary to popular belief that, you know, your mom might not have got along with your father, or he was just a fuck up, or whatever the narrative was. When you talk to Israelite men, when they get about 40, 50, 60, don't get me wrong, you have fools amongst them, but I noticed that they've learned about the world around them. If nothing else, the Israelite man, when he becomes 50, 60 years old, he's a vessel of knowledge pertaining to the world around him. You know, a woman can pretty much, her glory is really her beauty. You know, not saying that she hadn't acquired any wisdom in her day, but really her glory was her beauty in her youth. But that's why they say women age like milk and men age like wine. All right, because men, they acquire knowledge and wisdom as they grow older. A lot of their experiences becomes basically information. It becomes wisdom for them. All right, so that's why it's good to, you know, of course, sit in the midst of elders. But even if you know older men in your life that, you know, they're good people, so to speak, you know, you can still learn worldly things from them, man. You know, we have to be friends of this world too. I mean, friends of mammon, so to speak, for our benefit. But you know, if you're a young man, it's good to be around, you know, older men that mean well, you know. All right, because in this generation, all right, it's not really good to be around a bunch of young jakes, man. All right, but the point was that two things that I could really just meditate about men is that their glory is their strength, and then when they become older, their glory is their wisdom, because a hoary head is a sign of what? Wisdom. And what happens is they acquire wisdom over time. All right. Let me see. Nadav 23, Sirach 40:18. To labor and to be content with that, a man health is a sweet life, but he that findeth a treasure is above them both, man. All right. And to labor and be content. And that's the other thing, man. Eve wants you to be top dollar, high value, when really a lot of men are simple. You know, after you pay your bills and buy your little goodies, of course you pay your tithes, you buy your little goodies, you treat yourself, that's it, man. You know, Eve judged you by Esau's standard of happiness, man. Money doesn't always equate to happiness. But men, their honor, an older man's honor, he becomes intelligent, man. He's intelligent, and he acquires wisdom through his experience, and he's able to pass those things down to a younger man. And that's what you call generational wealth, man. And our forefathers were able to write down that wisdom in the form of Proverbs. Our forefather King Solomon, our forefather Sirach, all right, they were able to acquire wisdom and obtain wisdom from the men that they were around and inscribe it for their descendants, which would be us. And that's what you call generational wealth, man. All right. You had actual generational wealth because it also tells you in the scriptures that riches, house and riches are of fathers. So what does that mean? Your house is really your estate. So economically, we pass down our wealth to our descendants, but the estates usually belong to men, and you pass it down to your son. See, a lot of the value that men have, you don't see it on this side because we're economic slaves. We're grid slaves. So most of us don't have estates that were passed down to us by way of our fathers, but that's economically how it will work. Okay? So, yeah, just to recap, the mere strength of a man has to be counted honorable. All right. Then when a man becomes older and he has these experiences, all right, he becomes wise. This is general now. All right. Then the things that men can pass down to their descendants, that's also like a glory in itself, man. All right. Because now we have to start from the bottom. Okay. The Israelites have to pretty much get a job, get a skill, whatever. All right. So those things can no longer be overlooked. All right. Most men's value in America is based on their relationship with women, based on the standard of living by Esau. So the reason why men are being looked down upon, because it's basically what where they stand with women, and women judge them by Esau's standard of a relationship. All right, the Most High is not going to judge men based on their dealings with women. All right, so if your dad got another woman, the Most High don't care about that. But that's the storyline in America. Why we call well, men ain't shit, they can't be trusted, y'all this or that. All right, most of the reasons that men are devalued from a woman's perspective is based on some new age standard that has nothing to do with our culture. All right, and you should remember that. All right, but that's pretty much the point. You know, I want to do something this morning, and that was on my spirit, man, about how men are basically Israelite men were really precious. All right, now, you know, it's just that our value that we already have is overlooked. All right, but with that, I hope you brothers and sisters were edified. Once again, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakwadash, double honor to our apostles, the great millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the house of David the elect. Abba, Abba, Kom Yashala, Shalom.